Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.
Hello all my dear students, it's Hseb Suraj once again in front of you to help. Today I'm going to discuss chapter voice questions and their answers that are repeatedly asked in HSAB board examination. Watch out all these answers quite carefully to have more knowledge. You can even write it down in your note copy to secure good marks in your examination. I would like to tell you about the first unit, which is love and reminiscence. Here in this first unit, first poem is grandmother. And the most important question from this first poem is, what four things does the poet remember about his grandmother? As we know, this poem is composed by American Indian poet Ray Youngbear. The poet is a member of Meskwaki tribe. This poem is based on a theme of contemporary American Indians searching for their identity. To present the real existence of Meskwaki tribal people as a real native of America, the poet has presented the image of his lovable grandmother here in this poem. For the poet, his grandmother remains as a main source of inspiration in his life. The poet always remembers his grandmother, though his grandmother is no more. He remembers his grandmother through three senses, in which we can find four important things of his grandmother. The three senses are the sense of seeing, sense of feeling, sense of hearing. In sense of seeing, the poet has described the plastic shopping bag and purple scarf of his grandmother. He always remembers these two things which his grandmother used to carry and wear. From far distance, the poet would easily identify his grandmother's shape through these two things, plastic shopping bag and purple scarf. In sense of feeling, the poet has described the warm and damp hands of his grandmother. The hands of his grandmother would give sweet smell of soil. If the poet felt hands over his head, he would easily identify those hands belonged to his grandmother. The hands of his grandmother would provide deep feeling of love. Sense of hearing. In sense of hearing, the poet has described the voice of his grandmother, which he would easily identify after hearing. According to the poet, his grandmother's voice wasn't minor voice. He has compared his grandmother's voice with light. His grandmother's voice would flow inside him and make him wise. Thus, all these four things have very special place in poet's life, which he always remembers. Next important question from this poem is, what is the main theme of this poem, Grandmother? The main theme of this poem, Grandmother, is contemporary American Indians searching for their identity. This poem is composed to make aware all the people of America about the real existence of Meskwaki tribal people of America. During 70s, there was hegemony of white Americans in America. The American Indians were not well treated during that time. The American Indians were in miserable state due to their identity crisis in the land of America. They were asked a question related with their identity in the land of America. The poet has given the best example of his grandmother to show all the Americans about the real existence of Meskwaki tribal people as a real native of America. Now, I would like to discuss some important questions related with the second chapter of the heritage of words, which is about love by Russian writer Anton Chekhov. The most important question from this chapter is, write about the violent love affair between Nicanor and Pelagia. The love story of Nicanor and Pelagia is told by main narrator Elohim. Both of them work in Elohim's house. Nicanor works as a cook in Elohim's house, whereas Pelagia works as a maid in the same house. Both Nicanor and Pelagia love each other so much. Their love affair is violent come sensual. They love each other so much due to their sensual relationship. But every evening they involve in fighting. The main reason behind their fighting is the concept of marriage. Nicanor, as a cook as well as a religious guy, wants to marry Pelagia and live in society being husband of Pelagia. On the other hand, Pelagia loves Nicanor so much. She wants to live her entire life with him just so. But she doesn't want to marry Nicanor. Due to the concept of this marriage, they involve in fighting. Every evening after being drunk, Nicanor beats and scolds Pelagia a lot. But their love affair is quite bond due to their physical relationship. Now, I would like to tell you the next important question, which is, how does Elohim define love? Elohim defines love through his own experiences of two different types of love affairs. Elohim says that his definition of love may not be applicable in others' love cases. Elohim thinks that love is a great mystery. It cannot be bound by marital relationship. According to Elohim, whatever is stated or written about love up to now, that is not the real solution or answer of love, but only a statement of a question that is always unanswered. Elohim thinks that love should not be generalized but individualized. The definition of love may not be applicable in others' love cases because love itself is different from situation to situation and person to person. He thinks that love is the main source of irritations and dissatisfactions. Behind these irritations and dissatisfactions, various reasonings play a very vital role. According to Elohim, love should be done by heart, not by mind. Next important question from this chapter is, Elohim is said to rush around like a squirrel in a cage. Explain. This is very important statement which is repeated here in this text. This statement is spoken first by Luganu's family members and next by Elohim's friends Ivan and Birkin. According to them, Elohim is a man of talent. They know very well that Elohim is quite talented guy with various kind of skills. They all are surprised to find Elohim's life in Sophiano. They compare Elohim's life with a squirrel of a cage. Elohim is spending his life in Sophiano doing minor works. He keeps on rushing from Sophiano to town's court to take part in court session. He works hard in his field and even in town's court, but always remains penniless. His life is just like a squirrel of a cage that rushes from one bar to the next bar uselessly. Elohim can manage his standard civilized living, but due to his minor works, he is living a life of a squirrel here in this text. Next important question is, what are three different types of love stories suggested by the main narrator Elohim? Here in this story, Elohim has suggested three different types of love stories. He has told all these three types of love stories to his friends Ivan and Birkin at his house in Sophiano. The first love story is related with Nicanor and Pelagia. Nicanor and Pelagia work in Elohim's house. Nicanor works as a cook, whereas Pelagia works as a maid in the same house. Their love story is regarded as violent come sensual love story. Both of them love each other so much due to their physical relationship. But every evening they fight with each other. The main reason behind their fight is the concept of marriage. Nicanor, as a religious guy, wants to marry Pelagia and live in the society being husband of Pelagia. But Pelagia is quite different in her thoughts. She loves Nicanor so much. She wants to spend her whole life with Nicanor just so, without marriage. She really doesn't want to marry Nicanor. So, due to this particular concept of marriage, they keep on fighting with each other. Every evening, after being drunk, Nicanor beats and scolds Pelagia a lot. But their relationship is quite strong due to their physical relationship. The next love story is related with the main narrator Elohim himself. When Elohim was a university student, at the time he fell in love with a beautiful girl. Elohim loved that girl so much, but that girl used to think much about Elohim's money as well as gifts provided by him to her. This love story has shown the greed and temptation in the relationship of love. This story has also proved that most of the love affairs are possible here in this world due to money. The third love story is related with the narrator himself. This love story is regarded as the best love story. The writer even prefers this love story. This love story is regarded as the love story of true feelings, where two lovers depart from each other's life for good reasons. After being elected as an honorary judge of Circuit Court, Elohim meets his assistant president, whose name is Dmitry Luganovich. One day, Elohim gets invited by Dmitry Luganovich to his house for dinner. There, Elohim meets Anna for the first time. Elohim is totally fascinated towards Anna's beauty, youth, and behaviors. Elohim's mind is completely disturbed by Anna's memory. After that, Elohim keeps on moving to Townscourt a bit regularly. Later on, their meeting starts. They pass time together for hours. They spend their time in theaters. They share their joys and sorrows. They exchange their gifts. Due to their more meetings and more talks, their relationship has become quite strong. Later on, middle-class moralities have played a vital role in their love relationship. Middle-class moralities stop them to express their love for each other. Various reasonings play a vital role in their love relationship. Due to this, Anna suffers from mental prostration. Elohim feels irritation and dissatisfaction in his love. Finally, when Elohim knows about Anna's departure, he rushes to the train station. He enters inside an apartment of train, and when their eyes meet for the last time, both of them cry. They hug each other. Elohim kisses Anna and also expresses his deep love for her. Finally, both lovers depart from each other's life for good reasons. Now, the next important question is character sketch of Elohim. Elohim is the main narrator here in this story about love. He is a university graduate with excellent skills. His manner of speech is outstanding. He has various skills of various fields. He is right now living in Sofia. He is spending his life just as a patient doing hard work in his farm. Actually, Elohim has his own family problems. When he was a university student at that time, his father had taken a loan from the bank for his education. To pay off the debt of bank, Elohim is working so hard just as a patient in his farm. Elohim also works in Townscourt as a judge. Elohim has fallen in love with two different people. First one with university girl and next one with Dimitri's wife, Anna Luganovich. According to his friends, Elohim is quite talented guy. He has knowledge of various things. Instead of devoting himself in literary and artistic work, Elohim is spending his life in minor works. They have compared Elohim's life with a squirrel of a case that rushes from one bar to next bar uselessly. Here in this story, we find Elohim's life just as a squirrel who keeps on rushing from Sophianu to town's court without benefits. He works very hard in his farm and even in circuit court, but always remains penniless. According to Elohim, love is a great mystery. It cannot be bound by marital status. He says that whatever written or stated about love up to now, that is not the real answer or solution of love, but only a statement of question that is always unanswered. Elohim thinks that love is the main source of irritations and dissatisfactions. He has fallen in love with two different people, but he has experienced irritation and dissatisfaction only. He thinks that behind these irritations and dissatisfactions, various reasonings play vital role. According to him, whenever people are in love, at that time people think whether it is honorable or dishonorable, sensible or stupid, or what their love will lead to. He says that these reasonings are the main source of dissatisfaction and irritation in the relationship of love. According to Elohim, love should not be generalized but individualized. There is no perfect single definition of love because love differs from person to person and situation to situation. He adds that love should be done by heart, not by mind. Elohim can manage his standard civilized living, but due to his family problems, he is spending his life just as a patient in Sophiano. Now, the third number chapter is The Lamentation of the Old Pensioner. This poem is composed by an Irish poet, William Butler Yeats. And the most important question related with this poem is write about the past and present of the speaker. The past of the speaker was quite wonderful. He was quite energetic and young then. He had a fine job and friends. He used to talk about love and politics, sitting on chair in front of fire. Many beautiful faces used to turn at him. He was cared as well as loved by others. He was well supported by his physique as well as mind. But the present of the speaker isn't good at all. He is quite weak and old right now. He is retired from his as usual job. He is spending his pensioner's age. His friends and those lovable talks are no more. No beautiful faces turn at him. He isn't cared as well as loved by anyone. His life is quite miserable and painful. Right now the speaker is taking shelter under a broken tree to protect himself from rain. He isn't active enough to find shelter for him in this painful age. His body as well as mind isn't supportive for him. There is nothing left for him to do using his mind. The speaker is cursing the time that has transfigured him from young to old and provided him pains and loneliness of this painful old age. Now, the next important question is explain the title, The Lamentation of the Old Pensioner. Here, the title, The Lamentation of the Old Pensioner, suggests the life of an old pensioner who is retired from his as usual job and depends on pension only. He is spending his pensioner's life. Right now, his life is quite miserable and painful. He keeps on lamenting over various things related with his life. In his pensioner's age, he doesn't seem happy. He keeps on lamenting over losing various things of his life. Now, the next important question is, why did the poet want to speak in the face of time? Here, the poet is quite unhappy in his lonely and miserable life of old age. He is quite weak and old. He is retired from his as usual job. He depends on pension only. His friends are no more with him. No one cares and loves him. He is right now taking shelter under a broken tree to protect himself from rain. His physique isn't supportive for him. He cannot run so fast to find shelter for him to protect himself from rain. He keeps on lamenting over various things which he has lost in his life. He curses time for transfiguring him. He curses time for snatching all his happiness from his life. According to the poet, time has snatched various things from his life. For example, joy, happiness, friends, talent, youth, etc. So he is quite angry with time and wants to spit in the face of time. Thank you for watching this video. We'll meet again in my next video. Until then, bye bye, take care, and don't forget to subscribe and like my videos. Thank you very much. Subscribe this channel, hit the bell icon. Thank you very much.